It was this last revelation of Jean that I became fully aware of what was taking place when I was in her company of her parents. During the past week, they were seeing the same relationship with Jean and me as they witnessed before with Jean and Bob. They became concerned as our friendship developed, as they did not want to repeat the performance of what happened to Bob. They did not want their daughter to go through the same adversity once again, especially in such a short period of time. I did not blame them one bit, and I shared their concern for their daughter's feelings and welfare. I also directly responsible for the predicament they found themselves in, and I felt, as I am sure they did, that the situation would be somewhat alleviated and tempered once I was out of their lives, which would be shortly. Jean changed the subject again and then wanted to leave. First, she had to make the walk to the powder room. I watched her as she left, and I felt a kinship of oneness with this kind, warm person. I also felt a great, deep sense of responsibility for her, for what I've generated between us these past several weeks. Once again, I'd come to the point of no return. Built up a relationship once was again to be terminated. A deep friendship lost forever, never be to ignite it again. I felt frustrated and forlorn. Nothing I did seem to come out right. There was always, There was always so many obstacles and roadblocks strewn before an emotional, hi Claire, come on in Claire, come on in Claire.
Yeah,
Watch
you're
the
a good
wires.
host, huh?
Yeah.
Watch the wires, Claire.
Hi, come on in. I got your seat waiting for you.
Hi Claire.
Hi, Sarah. Watch the wires. Watch the wires.
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm
Yeah,
watch the
yeah.
wires.
You having a good day, Claire?
Yeah,
Come saw, huh?
not bad. How's that?
Not bad, okay. We're still in Haverfordwest, and John Jekovich is still seeing Jean, but it's getting to be any day now that they're going to ship him over the English Channel to combat. So that is coming to a real quick end, and that's where we're at right now. I enjoyed talking to Youngs, and I was coming to the point where I was running out of conversational material. I did not feel intimidated by their presence, nor did I sense they were uncomfortable with me. But I knew I did not have the experience or understanding to talk to someone's parents, as I really never talked to my own parents on a one-to-one basis. The experience was entirely new to me, and frankly, I did not know how to handle it, except in a socially acceptable manner. Hence the frustration was undoubtedly the awkwardness and fumbling around I must have displayed. I thought pretty much to the Youngs. If thoughts could have pictures, I pictured the Youngs' suggestion to one another, whatever does our daughter see in this fumbling, whatever does our daughter see in this fumbling, insecure soldier who's going off to war, never be heard from or seen again. Just then, Jean entered the room, and whatever I was feeling or tormenting myself with was suddenly of no consequence or importance at all. The sight of her brought back all my confidence and aspirations. Looking at her as she stood in the doorway, smiling radiantly, I thought, it was this woman thinks much of me. I cannot be all that inept or simplistic. She looked radiant and ever so inviting in her blazing red, tight-fitting dress, which was above her knees, which highlighted her well-shaped legs and her trimmed ankles. Just the sight of her elevated my spirits and gave me renewed hope for the future. She was elated, and I looked approvingly as the way she appeared, and it gave me great satisfaction to know that she wanted to please me. We said good night to the parents after Jean had called for a cab. We waited outside for its arrival. I then told her she looked beautiful. I wanted to kiss her, but she backed off, saying it would disturb her makeup. Instead, I held her hand and noticed that she was wearing a brighter red nail polish. I commented that even her hands looked sensuous and sexy, and she only smiled and held them up that I might better see them again. I better see them. As we drove down to the auditorium, the sight of Jean's knees as we sat there. She deflected my hand and remarked that I would ruin her only pair of nylons. I sighed gently and contented myself to resting my head on her shoulder, basking in the exciting fragrance of her perfume and the closeness of her body. We arrived at the auditorium. We could hear the band playing an old Glenn Miller hit, In the Mood. I asked Jean if she knew the title of the number of the band was playing, and she quickly replied with a twinkle in her eye, In the Mood. We crossed the reception area, and I could see every GI's eyes on Jean as she walked out to the dance floor. She was no doubt the most beautiful person there, and the attentive gazes she stimulated reinforced my conviction. I was so proud to be escorting her, and I told her so as we danced. She only smiled. I could see that she was enjoying herself tremendously. As I held her while we danced, she felt soft and alluring, and a scent of her perfume only intoxicated me more. I felt completely under her spell when I was not thinking of Anne or anyone else, but only the person I was holding, entrapped by her being and overcome by her physical attractiveness. It was not long before our privacy was broken by someone breaking in to dance with Jean. First, I took it good naturally, but after a while, I became frustrated and wanted it to end. Jean was also getting exasperated by it, and I suggested we go to the bar for a soda. As we sat at the end of the table, people would come up to make small talk, which also proved to be slightly infuriating and irritating. First there was Smith, and he really gave Jean a good look over, and then asked me about Elaine, which I thought was a dumb thing to ask. Next thing, there was Larson. He was well-mannered and expected, but kept on rambling about his family and the jewelry business. Then there was Lape, good old Lape. He would say something stupid, and then he'd chuckle over it. To get away from him, I made a dash to the dance floor, and once again, I had Jean to myself. We bumped into Fink dancing with someone I did not know. We acknowledged one another as he passed Jean. He circled his thumb and forefinger, circling that she was okay. I was pleased with Fink's reaction to Jean and decided we would seek him out on the break and sit and talk to him for a while with him and his date. At the very next break, we sought out Fink and his date and chatted with them for a while, then finally excused ourselves and went back to the dance floor. I felt Jean was having a good time, mostly because she was the center of attraction. She did not take it seriously, nor would she ever acknowledge it, but I felt she took a great delight in it. I knew that she would never mention it or discuss it in an obtuse way, and I admired her for her veracity, I must admit. I too felt great in her midst as she was in the limelight, but like her, I would never admit it and would also make light of it if it was ever mentioned. As the evening progressed, we settled into some sort of routine, it become more enjoyable for both of us. I temporarily forgot about the upcoming events and also realized that I cherished Jean's friendship more than I would admit. After seeing everyone's admiring glance at her, I did not want anyone stealing her away from me. And then as the final number was playing, the lights were dimmed way down. I held Jean, and as we danced, I thought how lucky I was to have been privileged to be a part of her life for even a short time. She would look up at me and smile, and I would see in her eyes that ours was more than a casual friendship. She had the radiant glow about her all evening, similar to what displayed at the inn earlier that day. As we walked out of the auditorium, Fink approached and invited us to join him and his date at the local pub. I looked at Jean and I could see that she was not enthusiastic about that idea. I graciously declined, stating we were to meet her parents for a ride back up to Hill. After they left, I asked Jean what she wanted to do. She said she was open to suggestions. I hinted rather that we go out to one of the hotel inns and have something to eat and then relax a while. She knew what I was trying to say, but declined the suggestion. Instead, she just suggested we go back to the fish and chips place where we were earlier this afternoon. The inn looked different at night in the blackout, with all the windows covered with thick black drapes tightly drawn. The interior was mostly lighted with candles, and there was a quartet playing some slow music as we waited for our order of fish and chips. I once again asked Jean that she was the belle. I once again assured Jean that she was the belle of the ball tonight. At first, she did not understand. When I tried to explain what I meant, she only smiled and replied that there was many pretty girls at the dance. This was again one of her many traits I had admired about Jean. Her sense of proportion and awareness of others' feelings intermingled with an absence of a pretensions and elitism. We stayed at the inn for a while, and I took advantage of our stay, as it gave me the opportunity to sit and view Jean as we talked about the various subjects. I especially liked when we would get so involved in her train of thoughts. Okay, good night.
All right.
Take care,
That's enough,
Claire.
huh? That's enough, huh?
But
Take care, Claire.
we'll do.
Good night, honey.
Good night, Claire.
Sweet dreams.
Good night, Claire.
All right, good night.
I think I'm going to put the bookmark in here for tomorrow. We're just going to discuss the auditorium that you were at the dance at Haverfordwest. About what was the capacity of that?
What? The dance floor?
auditorium? Yeah.
Probably 200 people.
And was it customary back then? By the way, I'm going to put this postcard in your book. Was it customary back then for another GI to tap you on the shoulder and dance with your girl?
Yeah.
That was customary.
I think nobody was really familiar with those people. We just seen how a couple of days ago. That was a general dance, and they just tapped somebody like on a dance, sure.
Right.
There's
And
no girlfriend, boyfriend stuff, no.
you said you took a taxi. What type of taxis would they have in the 1940s?
Old fashioned.
Like what were they? Do you remember?
Plymouth.
Plymouth? And they were really old.
Yeah. Seats were all worn out.
Were they gasoline or diesel?
Huh?
Were they gasoline or diesel?
Gas. They didn't have much diesel.
Yeah, it seems like Haverfordwest was a good place to be doing training at.
The what?
It seemed like Haverfordwest was a nice small town to be trained in, and it looked like the people were extremely friendly.
Yeah, well, English were friendly anywhere,
They're very friendly.
especially they were liberating them.
How about when you went to Paris? Were the French people friendly to you?
Different way, yeah.
Uh-huh. When you marched to the streets of Paris, were you greeted as friendly as you were?
The what?
When you marched to the streets of Paris, were you greeted the same way as you were in Wales? Did the
Oh, they threw ribbon out and stuff out the windows and that. Yeah. Well, they were getting liberated. The Germans were out. They had enough of occupation.
this last dance with Jean, do you recall on how many days you had left before you went to combat?
That was wartime romance. Come on.
But did you recall how many more days did you have in Haverfordwest?
No, I never thought of it. I always thought about it. My mother's taking care of that damn furnace.
Okay.
And that stupid Uncle Amendola taking the ashes out of the furnace.
Right. When you finally got released from the war, what was the condition of the house when you got back?
When I got discharged,
Yeah, you went back to the house.
well, it was unkept. Nobody took care of it. Uncle Johnny didn't do nothing.
Why?
He charged her $35 to put a piece of wallpaper up.
How about Uncle Andy?
Uncle Andy was real smart.
But did he help
He
with
was
the
gruff.
house?
What? Huh?
So Uncle Andy was
No,
a
but
tough.
when my mother called him, he come right over.
Uncle Andy was your mother's brother, right?
Yeah.
Did your father have any brothers and sisters?
We don't know.
So none of the
Huh?
brothers and sisters of your father came to New York.
We never talked about him.
Never talked about him. And your father said, "We only speak English here, no Russian."
Yeah.
And did you all abide by that rule?
Oh, yeah. There was nobody with an accent in our house.
How about the neighbors on your street? Do they have accents?
Oh, yeah. Belinsky had an accent. That Amendola had an accent. The guy down the street had an accent. About the older parents, the older relatives that lived with them, and naturally they talked that native language.
No kidding.
And then they jumped in for American language. But they still took that native language, and they picked up an accent, and that was it.
Didn't you deliver newspapers when you were a boy?
What?
Didn't you deliver newspapers when you were a boy?
16 years old, yeah. 150 pages.
And what was the name of the newspaper?
Gina Klasinski.
So, when you got back from the war, did that newspaper still exist?
What?
When you got out of the war, did that newspaper still exist?
Oh, yeah.
That newspaper was not in English, was it? That newspaper was not written in English, was it?
No, it was all Polish stuff. Polak stuff.
I wonder
That was
how
all East Fall Street.
I wonder how many years it survived for.
The newspaper?
Yeah, after the war.
Well, as long as those people were living there, they had clients.
Do you think they're all gone right now?
Well, some of them in their 30s and 40s.
So that paper doesn't exist anymore.
No, I don't think so. I don't see many French papers,
No,
and French, English. You might see more of it in Europe, but not here.
not here, yeah. Did your brothers help you deliver the newspaper?
He had the paper for a while, and he messed it up. He was losing money on it, and he was too damn lazy to do anything. So my mother said, take the paper away from Stevie, you do it.
And when was the paper delivered, in the morning or after school?
It was delivered after school. Well, we got out of school at 3 o'clock, we'd go down to Jenny Lasitsky's grocery store there, and the papers were piled up outside.
Where was the grocery store located?
East Boston, well, you know where the lumber is?
Yeah.
The viaduct, right in that area there.
Right there. And how did you get paid delivering the newspapers?
Saturday.
And did you go to the house and collect?
Yeah,
And was almost everyone a good payer?
well, they said, hey, I paid you last week, what do you give me? You trying to cheat me?
They actually would say that to you.
Yeah. Then I had to hold my nose.
Why?
Well, the stinking smell, they were cooking stuff in there. Probably taste good to them.
I see. They were cooking
Huh?
they were cooking recipes that they had back from,
Oh, yeah, old-fashioned recipes, yeah.
wow.
Cabbage, stuffed cabbage.
What church did your mother attend always?
Well, she was going to St. Stanislaus, but then she went to Holy Rosary.
Why do you think she transferred from St. Stanislaus to Holy Rosary?
Because the priest at St. Stanislaus was asking for more money on the collection. She didn't like it, so she went to
I see.
Holy Rosary.
But even though St. Stanislaus had a Polish Mass, she's still apt to go to Holy Rosary,
Yeah.
which was an English Mass.
Yeah,
Was your mother born a Roman Catholic?
probably, yeah. Family was Catholic, yeah.
So they didn't convert. She
No,
was born a Roman
they weren't Presbyterian or Episcopalian, no.
They were born
They
a
were all
Roman
Catholics. Yeah, they were born in Poland. Poland, mostly Catholic.
Yeah. And did she take you to Mass?
Huh?
Did she take you to Mass? Did your mother take you to Sunday Mass?
To where?
Did your mother take you to Sunday Mass?
When we were young, put a suit on, put a tie on, go to 11 o'clock Mass.
And where was that at?
On Holy Rosary on 27th Street in Niagara. And then across the street was Roman Hills for the paper.
That church is still standing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
church.
really for the pastor, it's really decorated up. See where the sisters live in that old Crummer Hall's house?
Yeah, the sisters lived in an old ramshackle house on a property.
Yeah.
And the priest was Monsignor Ormsby, and he had
A cook, a servant, and everything else.
driver, and his 4-car garage he had donated
Yeah.
a brand new Lincoln and a brand new Cadillac from the local
Yeah.
new car dealerships.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the dealers gave them those.
Yeah, they gave him those.
The dealers.
But the nuns had like 10 of them in a little room, and it was a rough house. It was a falling down.
Where the sisters live?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It
You open the
smelled
door, you
mold.
could smell the damn basement.
Yeah.
They're smiling away.
They were very kind, very kind. Very kind, dedicated
Yeah.
people. And what was across the street from the church?
What?
What was across the street from the church? What store was across the street from the church?
What?
Across from Our Lady of the Rosary Church, what store?
It was that store that sold newspapers, Roman Hills, or what the hell ever it was.
Did you buy your newspaper there?
I bought paper every Sunday morning. We got the Wall Street Journal and the Buffalo Evening News.
How'd you get to church? Did you drive?
Well, when I was younger, my father didn't drive, my mother didn't drive, so we walked. And then when Stevie started driving, we took on him and he drove us. But then when he went to school, he was gone, then I was old enough to drive.
Did you become an altar boy?
No, Stevie became an altar boy.
Your older brother became an altar boy?
Yeah, he didn't last very long.
How come?
He wasn't built for it.
How about your younger brother? Did he become an altar boy?
Loki?
Yeah.
He's never home. Of course, they had sent the cops out for him all the time. Running away. Painted a post.
Why would he be running away?
What, from us?
Why? What was the reason?
It was too unbearable at home.
So what would
Plus, he was drinking. He was drinking.
So his thoughts were distorted because of the liquor.
Yeah.
But what would he do when he ran away? You referred to Painted Post. What would he do when he got to Painted Post?
He would probably shake up with some dumpy building and sleep there and go out and drink. And then the cops would find out he's a minor. He was only 15, 16 years old. He said, you better pick up that kid before we throw him at a nursery or whatever, a real house or something.
Yeah. So let me understand this. You were a non-drinker. Your younger brother was a heavy drinker. And was your older brother, did he drink at all?
Oh, yeah. I used to go to football games with the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. And we used to sit in his car. And then he said, well, I got to get something to go to the truck and get a bottle of whiskey and all that shit, put it in the car and start drinking. And he had 2 or 3 of his college buddies in there.
Uh-huh.
And I seen that, I said, I got to go home.
Okay, you were a non-drinker. Your older brother drank. Your younger brother drank. Did your father ever drink?
My father only took a glass of wine that he made.
That was it?
Yeah. My mother never drank. No.
I wonder where they got those 2 traits from. Hello. How was the movie?
What movie?
You didn't fall asleep, did you?
No, but I relaxed. Now I'm ready. How you doing?
Good. Are you going to go and text?
Yeah, another hour of that.
Hey, good night.
Good night.
All right, good night.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
You too.
Mazel tov. And so your father barely drank. Your mother didn't drink. You didn't drink at all. Then how the heck did your older brother...
You know, he got hooked up with those kids in college. Cornell, all those kids in college drank.
How about when he got out of college and he started being responsible and having a job, that he stopped drinking?
Yeah, but they put him in Pittsburgh plate glass, and his responsibility was England. And he'd go over there and get drinking, he got into trouble, and then English people said, look, this guy's a boozer, he's not good for your company, he's give you a bad name. So they kicked his ass out. I don't know what he did after that.
But I thought you worked on his houses and helped him with his houses several times.
Why?
I thought you helped your older brother.
Oh, his house?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was up on the roof, I was doing the irrigation system, I was electrical.
What did you do for his house?
Huh?
What did you do? What kind of work did you do on his house?
Well, when he was sprinkling outside, he put the hoses up, and I put a irrigation system in, and a pump on the wall for Tommy, and he just timed it. And then I did a lot of wiring there. I did a lot of paper hanging in it. I did some painting. I did some work on the roof.
Did you go there with your mother?
My mother went once in a while, but if I left her alone, she called me in 2 days. I said, pick me up. That's all. Nothing else. Hang up, pick me up, boom.
Is there a reason why she didn't like California?
Well, it was Stevie and Millie. Millie was mother this and mother that. It wasn't like Delphine said, Mom, this and that. She got tired of Millie, and Millie was fussy and that. She said, what are you guys sitting around the ass? I'm doing work. She's taking the laundry out of the wash machine.
Didn't you one time went to a restaurant in that area?
Yeah, it was condemned. The guy was a Korean veteran. Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Well, we just sat down to start to eat. The inspector come in. He said, sorry, this place is closed. It's condemned. Well, I didn't take a bite or nothing. We're lucky.
You're lucky. You might not be here.
We're lucky he had the timing.
And then how about your older brother's neighbor? Didn't you help him?
Older brother?
Your older brother's neighbor that you're working on his house in California.
Yeah.
Did you help his neighbor?
Did I help something? Yeah, I helped the neighbors. Yeah.
What did you do there?
Well, they see me working for them, and they said, can you do this job for me, John? They said, I'll pay you this and that. But I did the job. I didn't ask for money, no.
But didn't you stay at his house?